Are you an Ephraimite? Huh, Israel? Are you an Ephraimite? Check out this story. The Gileadites captured the fords of the Jordan leading to Ephraim. Whenever a survivor of Ephraim said, "Let me cross over," the men of Gilead asked him, "Are you an Ephraimite?" If he replied no, they said, "All right, say Shibboleth." If he said Sibboleth because he could not pronounce the word correctly, they seized him and killed him at the fords of the Jordan. 42,000 Ephraimites were killed at the time. Here goes Leo, guys. Are you an Ephraimite? Back in the day, if you said a word wrong, it could lead to your death. So I don't come to y'all today as Shamar. I come to you today as Samar. I've been saying it wrong. And many years ago, that would have led to my death. So let's get it right, Ephraim. Welcome back to the front line, guys. It's your girl, Samar. Much love and thanks for tuning back in. Even I'm learning, guys. Look at that picture in the back. Uh-oh. Kill the snake. They got you guys thinking the serpent is the snake. The snake is underneath you. And these people are protesting it. They know what time it is. They know that this is actually destroying this land we're on. And the funny thing is, we ran across the building of that pipeline. I didn't think I could find that in the Torah. But we found that in the Torah, guys. Yeah. And when I try to find photos of this pipeline being built, you ain't gonna find none. But check it out. Let's go to the Torah, guys. Let's go to the verses, the Pentateuch. Right, guys? The incredible tunnel of King Hezekiah. This article is going to give us some info about what we stumbled across last week. Let's read it. I believe that one of the most amazing things one can see on the planet is Hezekiah's tunnel in Jerusalem. There are a few places on earth that bring ancient history to life, as well as this remarkable hand-chiseled tunnel. Let's see why. If this tunnel was hand-chiseled, who you think chiseled this tunnel, guys? You think some Judahites did this? Absolutely not. Judahites don't get their hands dirty. You did it, Israel. I'm pretty sure of this. Let's read. Judea and the Assyrians. Around 2,600 years ago, the Assyrian Empire was on a conquering streak. You don't say. This is who captured Israel. This is who captured the Ephraimites. At the time, it was the largest kingdom in history. And the little kingdom of Judah was no match. Judah was underneath them. Judah was a vassal of the Assyrian Empire. That's why this was one of the largest kingdoms in the history, because whoever they conquered had to become a part of their army. It says the little kingdom of Judah was no match, losing most of its territory in waves of attacks. Of course, there were waves of attacks on Judah because Judah got in bed with these type of people, instead of staying close to family. The legendary Judean king Hezekiah was forced to humble himself before the Assyrians and pay them an inordinate amount. He even sawed off the golden doors from the holy temple and had them shipped to Assyria, in the hope that whatever little remained of the kingdom would be left alone. But the Assyrians were not satisfied. An army of nearly 200,000 amassed at the outskirts of Jerusalem, threatening to snuff out the last morsel of Jewish independence. Sennacherib, king of Assyria, sent a Jewish renegade to curse the Jews and insult the king in Hebrew. See, y'all started turning on each other even. Okay, this is what Judah was doing to each other within the ranks of Judah. Someone snitched, okay, and a renegade to curse the Jews and insult their king in Hebrew, which struck terror in the Israelites. No, it struck terror in the Judahites' hearts. Okay, guys, we're going to stay focused. It looked like their case was hopeless. Hezekiah turned to his God in prayer, and in response, the prophet Isaiah came with a divine message. Therefore, so has the Lord said concerning the king of Assyria, he shall not enter the city, neither shall he shoot there an arrow, nor shall he advance upon it with a shield, nor shall he pile up a siege mound against it. In what remains one of the great mysteries of history, the mighty Assyrian army perished overnight on the foothills of Jerusalem on the first night of Passover, and Judea was miraculously saved. Okay, this is what they tell us, that this army ascended on them. They're writing the story, though, so, and that somehow they were miraculously saved that night. Okay, maybe they were. You know that Judah rolled around with this sickness, so we're going to get into that too one day. I'm going to show y'all. I don't have a problem showing y'all, but I want to stay focused on showing y'all this military might and how some of our tunnels and stuff got built here. Because if you look up this tunnel, you're not going to find any tunnels, any pictures of this tunnel being built. All right, Hezekiah's tunnel, anticipating a devastating attack by the Assyrians. King Hezekiah fortified the walls of Jerusalem and bolstered its defense. But one thing troubled him in particular. Jerusalem's main water source lay outside the city walls. Not only would they lose access to the water supply, but the enemy would enjoy an unlimited amount of water for its troops, under which circumstances Jerusalem was in the gravest danger. Right, they had to secure this oil. They've taken over Gihon. Gihon is where it's flowing profusely. So they had to find a way to secure what they have, okay? So these walls, right, that they're telling you that Hezekiah built to fortify the walls of Jerusalem, these walls are 23 feet thick, okay? 23 feet thick. So if they had the capability to build a wall that was 23 feet thick, how could we not think that this tunnel is much more than just a tunnel, and that this water is much more than water? We already know what's flowing from Gihon, guys. It's oil. It says so. A gusher flows oil profusely. It's not water. According to the Bible story, Hezekiah launched one of the most technologically complex operations in all of ancient history. He decided to reroute the water source, let's just say the oil source, into the city limits, thereby securing his own oil supply while depriving his enemy access. But how could this be done? Only by boring a lengthy tunnel through solid rock. Now, you want to tell me again these people were rubbing sticks together to make fire? Slinging stones at giants? Y'all want to tell me that again? I'm starting to think these stones are a euphemism for something else. Maybe a grenade. I don't know. I'm thinking these arrows are bullets, guys. And I'm going to show you why in another episode I say that. All right, guys, I keep telling y'all this book is not this old. It's this old language making it feel old to you. How do you bore through solid rock, guys? They had to have had dynamite, which we proved that the guy, that the Nobel Peace Prize, guys, the guy that made the dynamite, guys, you can't go around calling yourself for world peace but you've made dynamite. This is what the noble guy did. I believe he had a brother with him. Do the history on that, guys. Here's how the incredible project is described in the book of Chronicles. So you guys can find this story for yourselves right in the good old book. So I know these things sound far-fetched, guys, but they're right there. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job of showing y'all that they're there. All right, on our channel, I understand stuff does. If the average person tuned in, they would think we're crazy. I understand, but it's all right there. Hezekiah saw that Sennacherib, we're right here, had come, and his face was directed to wage war against Jerusalem. So he took counsel with his officers and his mighty men to stop up the waters of the fountains that were outside the city, and they assisted him. And a large multitude gathered and stopped up all the fountains and the stream that flowed in the midst of the land, saying, Why should the king of Assyria come and find much water? He, Hezekiah, stopped up the source of the water of the upper Gihon. What'd I say, guys? What'd I say, guys? Gihon means gusher, guys, and we know a gusher flows profusely. And he led them straight down on the west to the city of David. And Hezekiah prospered in all his works. Some 500 years later, the Romans laid ruin to Jerusalem. The city became virtually uninhabited, and gradually the tunnel became hidden. The astonishing feat could only be read about in the Bible, the legendary tale of a heroic king who made water flow through rock. Guys, what is stored? Look, you can even see almost deposits of oil in this photo. Look at the green in that rock, guys. Y'all see that? You see that? This is what they're trying to release from inside the rock, guys. So they hit it with high pressured water to break it. They want to strike the rock. A great discovery in 1838, American researcher Edward Robinson discovered the tunnel and conducted the first study. The work of researchers over the years has revealed this accomplishment was even more astonishing and breathtaking than anyone could imagine. It turned out that the full length of the water tunnel is approximately 1,752 feet, over a third of a mile through solid rock. Okay, one of the most amazing discoveries was that the tunnel had been cut by two groups of workers approaching each other from opposite ends. How could they have been able to meet up at the exact spot without sophisticated modern equipment? Damn good question. What have I said? What have I said? That's because they want you to think they was tunneling through this thing with a spoon. Okay, like what's that movie, The Shawshank Redemption? No, they had modern equipment, and this wasn't no goddamn water. Okay, guys, that's why they had modern equipment. This energy, they've been able to tap into this energy. You just haven't noticed this. It says to this day, no one has been able to provide an adequate explanation for how they could have navigated through rock with such precision. Another mystery is how the workers had enough oxygen to breathe. And for their lanterns, the long tunnel had virtually no inlets for air or light. How could they have breathed 100 feet into a mountain? See, now they're going to tell you they were into a mountain, right? Okay, see, so now they're letting some of it out the bag. Many hundreds of feet from the entrance without becoming asphyxiated. All right. Moreover, when the tunnel was fully scoped out, researchers were astonished to discover the entire length of more than half a mile, almost perfectly level. The height difference between the entrance and the exit is hardly more than 1 foot. It is nearly impossible to imagine how this could have been accomplished without modern-day equipment. Okay. Now they done bought in an American. They letting it out the bag. Because what would you need to bring in an American researcher for? Huh? In 1838. Why would we be talking about? We're talking about Hezekiah's tunnel. This guy jumps from talking about the Hezekiah's tunnel to an American researcher in 1838. So this is before Israel over there is established. They tell you Israel over there is established in 1948. So why are we talking about in 1838 an American researcher, guys, named Edward Robertson discovering a tunnel? How can you discover a tunnel in a nation that hasn't been built yet? Israel over there wasn't built until 1938, guys. Or was it 48? Sorry, 1948. It wasn't built in no 1838. So why is this man talking about Hezekiah's tunnel? All right, this is what we started with, the Chabad Institute. He talked about Hezekiah's tunnel. And then we jump to the discovery of it, and he leads with an 1838, an American researcher, Edward Robertson. So cat out the bag, the tunnel's here, guys. The tunnel is here. It's not over there, because you can't tell me somebody was researching something 110 years before it was made over there, right? So that brings us back here. That's why I brought this article in, guys, because that tunnel's here. One of the most amazing discoveries was that the tunnel had been cut by two groups. You see what it says? All right, blast from the past. But we're talking about 1880. When is Israel over there made, guys? So fair use for the purposes of education and criticism. All right, guys, because I'm pulling you guys' coattail to something right here. In 1880, researchers discovered that the workers had not only left a record of their efforts, but provided vital insight into how the project was undertaken. For the first time, it became clear that two teams were working towards each other from either end. It even records the moment when, on the day the tunnel became complete, each group could hear the other approaching. Reading their inscription, it is hard not to sense their overwhelming excitement at having pulled it off. Here's what they inscribed. The tunnel was completed. This is the narrative of the tunnel. While the stone cutters were welding the picks each towards his co-worker, and while there were still 3 cubits to tunnel through, the voice of a man was heard calling out to his co-worker, because there was a fissure in the rock, running from south to north. On the final day of the tunneling, each of the stone cutters was striking the stone forcefully so as to meet his co-worker, pick after pick. Then the water began to flow from the source to the pool, a distance of 1,200 cubits, and 100 cubits was the height of the rock above the head of the stone cutter. Shortly after its discovery, this remarkable inscription was chiseled out and removed by the Ottoman Turks, causing some damage. It is currently housed at the Istanbul Museum. Why? It ain't got nothing to do with Istanbul over there in 1880. To this day, right here, that inscription remains one of the most significant finds of ancient Hebrew writing. It gives testimony to a unique moment in history and provides a compelling voice for the people who participated in this moment. Archaeologists have debated for decades whether the tunnel is indeed the one described in the Bible constructed by Hezekiah. In 2003, a radiometry test was conducted, and they set the tunnel in the time frame of Hezekiah. Bunch of liars. Watch this. Bunch of liars, because we heard them start to talk about this American guy and researching in 1880, right? All right, so let's go to our next article. This is getting interesting, guys. Hezekiah's tunnel. I brought this article in because these people say something here. Hezekiah's tunnel re-examined. The dates assigned to Siloam inscription and Jerusalem tunnels are questioned. People are like, hold up, this is not adding up. Hezekiah's tunnel, part of Jerusalem's water system, is located under the city of David. It connects the Gihon Spring. Guys, Mayan meant spring, guys. What did I tell you guys? Jerusalem's fresh water supply. This is what they're going to try to tell you. The Siloam Pool. According to 2 Chronicles, this tunnel was dug during the reign of King Hezekiah of what? Judah. Okay, to prepare Jerusalem, which belongs to Judah. That's their inheritance. It's not Israel. For the imminent attack of the Assyrian king. Because after you wiped Israel out with these folks, they turned on you. In the Bible, Hezekiah redirected the water through old and newly dug Jerusalem tunnels. However, many have wondered if Hezekiah's tunnel was actually dug by Hezekiah at the end of the 8th century, the Iron Age. No, it wasn't. All right, so they got some arguments here about this not adding up with these dates. Okay, based on the type of rock in Jerusalem tunnels, geologists, these folks right here, contend that the tunnel could have been hewn in no less than 4 years. Did Hezekiah have time to dig the tunnel before the arrival of Sennacherib? In the Bible, it does not specify the amount of time between the threat of the attack, but Assyrian records shine light on the matter. All right. Let's keep going. The final argument hinges on the relationship of the various channels of the water system in Jerusalem. Tunnels were dug in very different periods, ranging from the Bronze Age to the Second Temple period. So now we know what they were really doing. They were digging these tunnels. All right, so we just got to follow the tunnels, right, to find out where they were doing this. Ronnie Reich, these folks right here who have excavated the city of David near the Gihon Springs extensively, believe that the starting point of the tunnel was tunnel 4, which is connected to the round chamber of the rock-cut pool. At the entrance to the tunnel from the rock-cut pool, there is a place that had been smoothed for a plaque. All right. A house built atop of the rubble field with a block entrance to the round entry, right? So they dating the house. All right, according to the rules of deposition, that had to predate the tunnel, right? Since the debris under the house were used to block the tunnel. So they're using common sense here. So it says Hezekiah's tunnel must have been constructed by one of his predecessors, right? Dating back to Jehosh, or Jeos, because we don't say sh. A century before Sennacherib's siege. Okay, so they're saying that it's some inconsistencies. That makes them think it was another king. But we know the inconsistency is that ain't the real tunnel, no matter what, okay, because you're in the wrong location. And the people from the first article know, because this is why they go to the American researcher, right? Where'd it go? In 1838, right? They know. That's why they bring in this guy into this article about the tunnel. It doesn't even make sense. So let's keep going. Now, remember, I told you they were starting to build all of these tunnels. So all we got to do is follow the tunnels. Top 20 countries by length of pipeline. The world has over 2 million miles of pipeline constructed by 120 nations. The U.S. boasts a 65% share. okay? It boasts a 65% share of the total pipeline length in the world, followed by Russia at 8%, House of Roos, huh? And Canada at 3%. See, all you got to do is follow the people that are doing this. Okay, we were being forced into slavery by Judah to do this type of stuff. So Judah is the tunnel makers. The three countries make up 75% of the total pipeline length. Okay, they wanted to tell you about the U.S.'s share, just like that article wanted to bring in the U.S. in 1838, right? Before the so-called Israel country over there was even a thing. Construction and operation of pipeline. The material used to build pipeline can either be plastic or steel. Okay, steel is developed from iron. We're the one of the number one iron developers. So we're tracing all of this back to the Americas. It's going to depend on the product being transported. The plastic or steel tubes have an inner diameter. The pipelines are typically buried 3 to 6 feet. So this would be our plumbing, guys, okay? The tubes form corrosion, impacting abrasion, including concrete coating, padding machines, wood lagging, and rock shield. The pipelines are regularly checked to detect anomalies using smart pigs. Pipelines such as those carrying crude oil are prone to buildup of wax and constantly clean. All right, so we're tracing these pipelines back to here. Pipeline. So you wouldn't build no pipeline that thick to just transport water, guys, is the point. Remember, he's fortifying this joint 25 feet thick. Pipelines transport liquid as well as compressed gas. Pipelines emerged as an economical way to transport crude oil in the 19th century. Bullshit. Because if this was the case, we could find pictures of this, right? Of this thing being built. You're not going to find no pictures of the Keystone pipeline being built. You're going to find pictures, of the XL pipeline that they want to build, or them adding on, or them dropping in new pipelines. You're not going to find no pictures of this thing being built. Nobody's going to have a memory of everybody having to get together. Do you know where this thing goes from the south to the north, okay? Nobody's going to remember this thing being built, guys. But you better believe it's to transport those resources that they keep digging out from under the ground and destabilizing the ground, right? Ethanol. Okay? This is what they're using it to transport it. They cover long distances, it says right here, and have such a diameter to move bulk quantities. Such pipelines can connect cities, countries, and even continents. They are sending this stuff underground to other continents. They are collecting their share over there. I have told you guys that. They did all of this here to enslave us here to get their share over there. These kingdoms are them. Top 20 countries by length of pipeline. The U.S. is home to over 2 million kilometers length of pipeline, most of which transport oil and natural gas. Russia comes in second with the highest length of pipeline in Eurasia. It says here, Canada, all right, countries with the highest length of pipeline in Asia is China. Ukraine is ranked second. Ukraine is ranked fifth. Argentina leads South America by pipeline length, okay? You got the UK, Iran, Mexico, Australia, Germany, Algeria, Brazil, Kazakhstan, France, Italy, Indonesia, Hungary, and Poland. Is this the people collecting their share with these pipelines, guys? Huh? You better ask yourself that. All right, guys, so I done showed you guys. Here we go, the length of all of the pipeline. Where the pipelines are. And look who came in first. That's why that guy was brought in from 1832. Because it's going to bring you back to the Americas, guys. It always does. Oil companies first built pipelines in the 1860s. They've been contested ever since. That's why they brought that in. In the 19th century, reformers were happy to have oil come out of the ground, but they objected to the way oil companies controlled it. Now, guys, I want y'all to take a real good look at this picture. Edwin L. Drake's first oil well. This is an oil well, guys. Look at the shape. We're going to block you, bastards. Look at the shape of that. It's shaped like a pyramid, guys. Here goes the pyramid on the back of your dollar. That's an oil well. They play a lot of games with you guys. This is what that almighty dollar is built off of. The OPEC. And they're getting mad. You see, they're trying to rattle up the world leaders because you know you got to get your oil from here, guys. You can't make up no another dollar. This is what they mad about. Okay, so as we're watching the pieces move around, pay attention to why they're moving around. All right, after the house passed its version of the Keystone XL, this is the pictures you'll find being built. You're going to find the Keystone XL being built. You're not going to find the original Keystone pipeline being built. The Senate is gearing up to pass its version. The Senate bill is still shy of veto-proof majority. All right, the Keystone XL would connect tar sand oil. Okay, so this is going to be fracking. They don't want to tell you that. But whenever you get to the tar sand oil, you've depleted most of the regular oil. So this is why you want to go to that. It's not your first go-to. This is the last. This is what's in the bottom of the barrel that you want to scrape. All right, guys. You know when you get to the bottom of the peanut butter jar? Okay? This is it. So now they want to go into Canada and scrape the bottom of the peanut butter jar. All right, to refineries in the Gulf Coast of Texas. So this thing's going to run. They want to run it from Canada to Texas. It's been controversial. Now, this is why he wants to invade. Now, we know why 47 want to get up in Canada and make it state number 51. They want to scrape the bottom of the peanut butter jar. All right. That's why you see their leader looking like a deer in headlights. You next, my man. We need what's underneath you. It says it's been controversial in the context of what? Climate change. That's why mama ain't want y'all up in here. She didn't want no fracking being done up in here. All right. But you're going to want to strike the rock because you can't help yourself. You got to shake the piggy bank until there's nothing left in it. This is who Judah let in. But for as long as the oil industry has tried to move its product through pipelines, they've been contested. Unlike today's activists who want oil to stay in the ground, in the 19th century, reformers were happy to have oil. What they objected to was the way in which oil companies controlled it. It says oil pipelines have been around since the 1860s. At the time, wagons and flatboats were the most common means of transporting barrels of the stuff. But I told y'all this book ain't this old. All right? They telling you when the pipelines were built. This book ain't this old. I'm going to show y'all when the guns. I'm going to bring in the guns. I'm going to show y'all this book ain't this old. They're playing in your face. At the time, the wagons and flatboats were the most common means of transporting. Now, there were some trains around. Don't play with us. It says it would be built out of two wooden boards combined to make a V shape. The first oil pipeline is widely believed to have been produced in 1862 at the well of Phillips, number 2, in Oil Creek Valley, Pennsylvania. It ran oil about 1,000 feet with the help of gravity. Okay. It says that high transportation costs and labor disputes motivated oil men to continue developing pipeline technology. By 1863, 2.5-mile iron pipeline, complete with pumps, helping to move the oil up 500 feet incline, was laid in Pennsylvania. That pipeline was called experimental. Okay, so they've been doing these pipes up underneath us specifically for oil. These pipelines were originally intended to allow private companies to control the transport of oil. Who were these private companies? Judah and Friends. That's who it was, guys. All right. It was the power, to transport the oil. It was that power that activists objected to. By the late 19th century, Standard Oil, Rockefeller, right, and Friends, Judah and Friends, controlled 80% of America's oil. Okay. When the pipeline appeared on the national scene, because nobody knew this thing was under here. It was a big secret. All right. When it appeared on the national scene as a subject for the public policy, it was too late to change the place that private enterprise and inadequate public policies on the state level had given pipelines in the petroleum industry. Yeah, they let these people run amok. So by the time that the public found out about it, it was too late to put in any regulatory practices. You couldn't say, hey, don't put that under the ground. You're going to pollute the ground, because it was already under the ground. While Standard Oil did eventually have to give up almost total control of the industry, even after the government got involved in the pipeline business, it did not much change how private industry made decisions. Okay, so they got involved. This industry has always resisted intervention, which would make it that much more surprising if the U.S. government does ultimately reject the pipeline, all right, the permit. And they did in the past, okay? This is a past tense article. But we know number 47 is coming in. And what did he say? He's going to drill, baby, drill. Okay? He's going to get rid of those regulatory practices. Now, I went searching. I Googled for images. I use YouTube for the purposes of education and criticism to look for this pipeline being built. It was built supposedly in 1863, they say, right? We got photos of the train. We got photos of bridges being made. Why not this pipeline? You know what I find? Pictures of people protesting this pipeline, or them doing like little repairs possibly of this pipeline. But that's it. Kill the snake. One of the articles I found described this tunnel that Hezekiah built as being serpentine. And look what he has. They know. I'm making sure you know, Ephraim, because this is what you were entrusted with. You were entrusted to safeguard against this practice right here. Hydraulic fracking. That's what Moses came in here and did. He struck the rock. Hydraulic fracturing has upended the global energy landscape and made fossil fuel business big business in the United States. Okay, this is how we're getting all our money. We're going to deplete it until there's nothing left for $1, guys. And now we want to go into Canada because we want to keep on doing it. Mounting evidence shows that it poses serious threats to our health, environment, and climate future. Here's a look at fracking boom and its increasing risk. So this will increase. Look, we want to know why we're sick, right? We want to know why the birds are falling out the sky and the fish are dying. We want to know why it's triple digits, why there's more earthquakes, why there's more fires, right? Why there's more hurricanes and flooding, right? Here you go. That's why. Look. It says during this time, fracking boom, right here, a fracking boom has helped the United States become the global leader in natural gas and crude oil production. But the extraction of dirty fossil fuels by any means comes at a cost, and the risk associated with fracking to the environment, our health, and the Earth's climate are serious. All right, so they're going to tell you what fracking is. Look this article up, guys. This is an article by NRDC, Fracking 101. I'm not going to cover everything. I just want to show y'all why Mama is mad and why this wasn't supposed to happen, guys. Why she's coming back. Fracking fluid. They make this fluid up. Okay, it's a poisonous fluid, guys, to hit this rock really hard to break it open. They use chemicals, guys, and then they dump these chemicals. Look at this nasty cup of stuff. A jar of wastewater from hydraulic fracking. Where are they going to waste that water at, guys? What do you think? Companies have been looking for ways to recycle their waste. They can't. They can't get rid of this stuff. It's a forever chemical. Okay? Why is fracking bad? Let's get to it. While fracking has charged ahead, the research into how safe it is for human health and the environment hasn't kept pace. Many questions remain about the dangers of the process, with mounting evidence raising serious red flags about the impact on drinking water, air pollution, and our climate. All the animals got to suffer for us? Huh? Because we got to get to work. We got to turn that key in that ignition, and that car got to start. So all the animals got to die for us, y'all? Because we're poisoning the water with this. Water supply depletion. And not only that, we're depleting the water supply because whatever water you take and use, you make this stuff right here. You can never use that water again. So the more oil they make, the more water they use, the less oil we have left. It's leading to water supply depletion. Fracking consumes a massive amount of water. In the United States, the average can run between 1.5 million and 9.7 million gallons of water to frack a single well. For one well, this is what we're going through. All of this water for one well. The amount depends on a few factors. All right. It says water used in hydraulic fracking is typically fresh water taken from groundwater. They're trying to use, now they want to use non-potable water because now they realize, oh my God, we're using the clean water and we'll never get that back. Some of the sources also supply the drinking water for the U.S. You see that? You drinking some of this water. It says the U.S. water consumption for fracking is still considered negligible compared with other industrial water uses. The amount of water used per frac job has grown over time, exacerbating fracking impact. Child, I can't. Exacerbating fracking's impact on water supplies, okay? This is why our water is dwindling down. A Duke University analysis found that there's been a surge in using of this water in the already drought-ridden Permian Basin of West Texas. Water use of fracking during those years increased by as much as 770%. Water contamination not only strains water sources but risks polluting them. All right. So, and this is going into your drinking water. Fluid leaks. Spills and leaks can occur through the fracking process during the transportation, the mixing, the pumping. Okay. It says both human error and equipment failure can cause spills and leaks. Okay, so they got a record of these spills happening, okay, but you don't hear about them. All right, from 11 states, it says here revealed 151 spills, all right, from this fracking. So where's this stuff going? It's going into the soil, which at that point, it's going into the waters. Well construction. Rock formations. Okay, so look, I want to keep going down. Wastewater mismanagement. Y'all can go to this site to see all of the hell that these pipelines have caused. Air pollution. Okay, I want to get down to, I want to say earthquakes. Guys, I want to read this one specifically. We know about all of the other stuff, the air pollution. Now you know about it seeping, the cracks in these pipelines, seeking out, how when they transport it, they're making spills. But check this out. Earthquakes. Noting an unprecedented increase in the number of earthquakes in the central part of the United States since 2009, the USGS has determined that disposal wells, which inject water waste generated from oil and gas operations, from fracking, deep underground. So they're taking this wastewater and injecting it back underground, right? Are mostly to blame. So this is where we're getting these earthquakes from. All right. We got the oil companies to thank. They want to take, after they've took this water and high pressurized it and added all of these chemicals to it, they don't know where to put it afterwards. So they take it and inject it deep into the earth to get rid of it. Y'all ever see that movie, Liar, Liar? No, not Liar, Liar. Damn, what is... Envy. The movie Envy, where the guy makes that poo be gone spray. And everybody's like, there's one guy the whole movie that keeps saying, where is the poo going? Right? This is what they feel like they've invented, the poo gone spray. So they take it and they inject it. They're calling this disposal wells. This is their poo be gone spray. They've made disposal wells. So with their disposal wells, they injected into the earth, poop be gone. Okay? Only problem is the pressure that they've created from this, right? From these fluids injected into these disposal wells cause faults to shift. Okay? That's why now in Pennsylvania, you're getting the Madrid fault line from the Pennsylvania wells. That's why I experienced that earthquake in Virginia, first earthquake in Virginia. Okay, this is from them doing this fracking stuff. It says the USG found that central and eastern United States averaged just 25 annual earthquakes of a magnitude of 3 or higher. Oklahoma and Ohio are among the states with dramatic uptakes and quakes as a result of booming oil and gas production, the need to dispose of the accompanying waste. Some of these man-made earthquakes have been large enough to cause property damage and injuries, but these states find themselves ill-equipped to deal with seismic activity, given how rare natural earthquakes are. Environmental degradation. Fracking, like other oil and gas operations, involves intense industrialized development. Well pads, access roads, pipelines, utilities, corridors are typically accompanied by intense round-the-clock noise, light, and truck traffic. Okay, so this is what you bring to the table when you decide that you want to refine this stuff, okay? In addition to potentially polluting local water and air resources, the vast web of infrastructure can fragment forests. All right. Since 2014, fractured horizontal wells account for the majority of new oil and natural gas oil wells. It's going to show you the map of where all of the shale deposits are. Okay. You can see underground. See, fracking in Texas. Okay, this is how we get that fault line over here, the San Andreas, right? And fracking in Pennsylvania. What did I tell you guys? Now we have the new Madrid line. All right? And it's going from New York, New Jersey, and Delaware. See? Black gold. What I told you. This is the gold. That's the gold. You thought it was bars of gold. Okay. They're doing it in North Dakota. They're doing it in Florida. They're doing it everywhere. The laws and regulations. Evidence continues to mount about the negative impacts. All right. But instead, they look for loopholes. Okay. Consider the Halliburton loophole, nicknamed the largest oil and gas company in the country and passed as part of the Energy Policy Act. All right, that involved Dick Cheney. They enjoy an exemption for certain explorations and the production of waste. Okay, it don't matter if they making all of this waste. They are excused from it because they're getting the gas out. Okay, they're doing a service. They're getting the gas out, and with that chaos, we can make money. Meanwhile, number 47's administration is aggressively opening up more public land to fracking and proposing rollbacks of existing regulations on oil and gas operations. What'd I tell you? What'd I tell you? This includes a scaling back of methane protections as well as a repeal of fracking rules. It says stricter federal oversight, not relaxing the federal oversight, would go a long way towards protecting our community and environment. But state and local agencies can only play a significant role in governing the industry. Some states have some fracking chemical disclosures laws. Okay, this is the best they could do. The states really, their hands are tied. These people can come in and do whatever they want. It says everybody's not ignoring the science. New York, Maryland, Vermont have banned fracking altogether. California and Colorado are taking important steps. All right, there's alternatives to fracking, but they don't want that. Okay, because these are some old dinosaur men that just like to look at themselves as old oil tycoons. Okay, and they don't care about the damage that it's doing. And you don't believe that oil well that I showed you in the picture is a pyramid? Check it out. Check it out. Y'all know when I get ready to start digging, I'm a dig. What I told you guys. There goes your Assyrian oil lamp. You see that fire at the top? You see that pyramid? You see that V shape? Come on, man. They play right in your faces, guys. They really do. Remember I told you earlier about that spring? That Mayan fountain as the eye of the landscape, huh? What eye? What eye? Y'all don't believe this thing is built up off of this almighty dollar? Let's see. Way to go. Damn it. Hold on. Let's do. Let's do a dollar bill. Let's go to the back. Here we go. You see that eye? That's the eye of that well. That, guys, is that spring. They done took away my definitions. Hold on. Check this out, guys. I'm going to take you back to that word iron. Because that's why the Mayans are called the Mayans. Probably a primitive word, an eye. I looked up eye, guys, and it brought me to iron. But why is eye connected to fountain? If that ain't that oil well, that pyramid on the back of your dollar is none less than that oil well, that fountain, connected to an eye. So you wondered why that eye was on the back of that dollar. It's representing this, guys, a fountain. A physical eye is showing mental qualities, a mental physical capacities, or a spring. Because out of your eye, you tear. Are those the tears of the earth they're collecting? Probably a primitive word. Look, but I bought in this, right? Because if you don't believe it's a well, why is it connecting it to well right here? In all of these verses, or even fountain right here, it's just an eye, guys. It's allegory to hide the fountain and the well. Look at all these wells. That's why it's on the back of your dollar. And that's why this guy right here, where'd he go? Let's go. That's why this guy right here, Mr. Drake, built it so he could rake in the dollars. See? Much love to you guys from the front line. We're tracking down their pyramids. We're tracking down their dollars. And we're going to track that damn tunnel right to here. Remember what the guy said? Right here. The American in 1838. You want to tell me again? It ain't the Keystone pipeline underneath us? It's your girl, Samar. Much love from the front line, guys. I'll see you next week.